Okay, hello, hello, welcome everyone to our Unlimited Network Mastermind of our Saturdays morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. And here we are all together dedicated to support the growth of our conscious entrepreneur, to really engage with our business and with our success and you know, the creating the lifestyle of our dreams and how to manage our leadership and blah, 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 all what a conscious entrepreneur needs every Saturday. And we are really supporting each other here to unfold the best qualities of our being, I would say, to really engage with consciousness and awareness and doing the things in alignment with our highest potential. So I can say for myself that the journey is being interesting. We are working right now with the laws, working with the laws, and I mean, I'm very touched by this book. So I'm very intrigued by the book that we are by the chapter that we are going to work today. But I wanted to share a little bit about the impact that the last chapter had in my life, because I feel like the word sacrifice was something like woohoo, like something that was put me in a position of, okay, let's check it, because I really felt resistance about I don't like the word, and I have it imprinted with a lot of effort and giving up, and not really something that I want in my life. And it's interesting to me that is a quality that successful people, or the ones that really understand about the laws or how the universe works, were explaining to us that it is important that for you to gain something, you're going to have to give up something. And it's so true. I was all week like really bringing light to that and applying it to my life. And I don't know if you know, but I'm doing this juicy program of kind of cleanse with juices, vegetables and fruit juices for 28 days. And today is day 26. And it's very, I would say it is a challenge. And when I see that the sacrifice is really about giving up where the mind goes. And I'm like kind to becoming this kind of master, to really see, oh my gosh, this kind of thinking is not supporting my commitment. And that's what I have to give up, really, thinking about this food or this, pleasure that I had before, instead of really stick, with my goal, with why I'm doing this cleanse and why do I give that to my body. And I was transferring all of that to my business, and to really see, okay, it's true that, when I'm clear with the vision, why I'm doing this business, and I'm totally focused on why I'm doing that, I can engage much more. I have much more energy to connect with people, to follow up, to do the actions that are required to do to change. Because if I don't change, I'm going to be in the same place with the same results, forever. So I'm doing that consciously, and I just want to say thank you for being all of us here together and supporting us every week to integrate, in a deeper level, different aspects of our own humanness, and to really wake up on that magnificent being that we are, that we can allow and really conceive success from an easy place. And I will say that the sacrifice was not such a hard thing, based on clarity. So again, I just wanted to highlight that for myself and for all of you. And after that, I think we are going directly to...
Monica, it's day 27 today.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I mean, I have today and tomorrow, and then I complete. And I really, want to do that transition gentle and consciously. Thank you. But it's beautiful, because I'm really using it to see how powerful it can be to get a commitment. Like in my case, I do choose my commitment in business is to reach financial freedom on my own level, and on the level that I choose, and sometimes, I want to give up, or I don't really trust, or all the laws that we are learning, to have the faith and da. And I'm learning with that this journey, that it is really a matter of staying clear, because you know, everything is possible. For me to be 28 days, you know, to don't chew anything, to don't, you know, to don't think even, you know, about things that I love. I can tell you many of them. And to don't feel right now, you know, the need or I feel super good, you know. So it's interesting to see that it works. So I wanted to share that so that we can apply this sacrifice, the realization that we need to give up habits that we had until today if we want something different, that for sure. So I'm happy to enjoy that. And the part that makes me to enjoy that is the part that sees constantly why I'm doing this. So the why I understand today with a deeper on a deeper level, and to enjoy the end, you know, like to really see, okay, you know, there is no space for anything else because that's what I decided to do. So here we go. Well, thank you again for being here, and thank you again for the ones that I know you are on the other side. And maybe if you want to be part of the panel, you just need to send us an email. You can go to Unlimited, well, you already are in unlimitednetwork.com, so send us a message, and we can send you the link for you to be on the panel so we can engage more between us here. And besides that, today Doc Frank is not available to be today. He's busy with something else, so we are going to keep going with our book. And Jay, you are the one dedicated today, offering your voice and your mind here to make emphasis in our next chapter of this law of working with the laws. And you know, we went through a lot of them. And we already went through the law of thinking to get clear how powerful our minds are, and to really enjoy the mastering of that and thinking with our hearts. I remember that chapter was really touching me about, you know, to learn how to feel my thinking, you know, and to detect the vibration of that. And then we went through the law of supply, and then to the law of attraction, the law of receiving. We work also with the law of increase, the law of compensation, that was big for me too, the law of non-resistance, the law of forgiveness, and the law of sacrifice. And today we are going to work with the law of obedience. And I have to say, just to listen to this word, I get, whoops, pretty much the same than with sacrifice. So I really am curious about how I can interpret all of that and to really integrate, because I believe that this book is very wise. Okay, so Jay, welcome. Thank you so much for being here with us and leading us to a deeper level of understanding of how life and our business can work.
Well, thank you, and let me know when you're ready.
I am. Just go for it. Yes.
You are? Okay, thank you, thank you. I do Doc Fran justice. One thing I want to say, and I always say this about in probably reading anything, is you need to read it over a few times. And in reading this chapter and a lot of this book, it's a challenge. You know, a lot of the stuff I understand and a lot of the stuff I don't. So, you know, I would suggest that after I read this to you, and I'm sure most of you have read this, you know, I've read it a couple times, and some stuff just sort of goes over my head. So I would suggest that you read it over again, and because you'll see things different, you'll hear things different, and especially in this chapter, to me, I've read it a couple times, and certain things I see right away, and certain things are, I'm having a little bit, it's hard to read, first off, and it's hard to grasp, just as hard as it is to read. So, law of obedience. Obey my voice, and I will be your God, and you shall be my people. To be ushered into turmoil, blindly toil a few years, and then go out into uncertainty is surely not the purpose of man's existence. Life must mean more than this, and it does mean more. Man should be a builder, and to him is given all the materials out of which to construct the kind of life he deserves to live. He builds in wisdom or in ignorance, according to his obedience, according to his understanding of a divine law and the use of it in his daily life. Many people, when they learn that the science of living is governed by exacting laws, immediately assume that to live rightly is to live the hard way, They are afraid of a law that is exacting in its demands when it touches their relationship with the finer things. Yet these same people would not be willing that the laws which govern human society should be modified in any way. They recognize that the laws which govern social conduct and activity must be properly enforced if organized society is to function harmoniously and safely. In other words, they recognize that government is for the good of mankind and that without it, human life and welfare would be in continual jeopardy. If this is true of human government and established by constitution and law, it is even more true of divine government. And the more exacting the law, the more certain the safety, prosperity, and happiness of him who fulfills the law's demands. In the realm of science, no laws are more exacting than those which govern the science of mathematics. An accountant, even when he fails immediately to solve a problem, knows it can be solved only by calling into operation the exacting laws that govern all mathematical calculations. Were those laws subject to change, the solution of mathematical problems would be utterly hopeless. Perhaps in no way has religion gone so far astray as in its conception or understanding of God, whether it be the God of the Christians or of the heathen. Instead of recognizing that the supreme intelligence is law, operating according to and as surely as the laws of nature, men have created in their ideas a God who is partial, subject to appeal from saint and sinner alike, a God who can be persuaded and bargained with, a God who gives life and takes it away, a God who heals sickness and causes it, a God who impoverishes and enriches, a God who rewards and punishes, and having accepted this wrong idea, it has made prayer largely a matter of doubts, lacking in that strong assurance that a thing will be so because it is according to the divine law. To many folks, this aspect of truth creates an illusion of a God for all, a God who is not interested in man's needs and problems, a God who is not a father to whom we can take our cares and with whom we can converse. They have taken away my Lord, cried Mary. Sooner or later, however, they discover that this divine knowledge of the nature of God as law has given them their Lord in a sense so close and intimate that all doubt in claiming their good is ended. For once the law is understood, we hold the secret of eternal happiness, peace, and dominion or mastery over all the forces around us. The word obey means to submit to rule or to comply with orders or instruction. Obedience then is the governor of all. Obedience then is the governor of all movement, whether it be mechanical, literal, or spiritual. A giant machine without its governor would tear itself apart, would be utterly destroyed because it failed to obey its own laws of momentum or gravity. An intellectual giant who fails to comply with laws of learning will become as an idiot. A student failing to comply with or to obey the instructions of spirit of the law of God will reverse that good and create evil. We are dependent entirely on obedience for our success or our failure in this life. Our society, cities, states, and nation are supported by it. Our properties and lives are dependent upon it. Because of our respect for obedience, we as a whole support it. But woe unto the man who tries to break through, to pillage, to plunder for selfish gain. As we look into the home, we see the mother training her child into habits of discipline. Tomorrow we see a happy mother because her child has grown into youth and manhood and has earned success. A success because back in the beginning of his life, the seed of obedience was placed there which brought forth respect, obedience, and unselfish thought. On the other hand, we may see where others fail because they have been allowed to grow up being disobedient, disrespectful, and selfish. Business is founded upon obedience, and as each member obeys the law of commerce, he will succeed. It is only when man expands these laws by overspeculation and by wildcat schemes, inflated values, or lack of cooperative agency that he brings upon himself failures and causes.
We lost you at businesses. When you started to read the sentence of businesses, we lost you.
Okay. You hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Business is founded upon obedience, and as each member obeys the law of commerce, he will succeed. It is only when man expands these laws by over-speculation and by wildcat schemes, inflated values, or lack of cooperative agency that he brings upon himself failures and causes bankruptcies and loss. All our problems of life are due in some measure to our obedience of the law of thought and its creator, God. Our difficulties have been in knowing what to obey and what not to obey. We see in nature the answer. She has no troubles she cannot overcome. She has no problems she cannot solve. She has no burdens she cannot bear, no tasks she cannot perform. Why? All her operations are governed by the mighty law of harmony and order, which constantly removes every discord, which heals all diseases, which rights every wrong, which supplies every need. If in the winter a young sprout attempts to break through the soil before season, Mother Nature destroys that sprout, rifts it off, or freezes it out. Yet at the same time, the very snow and ice that freeze the truly unruly sprout serve as a blanket of warmth and protection to the other seedlings, complying with her laws. When man wishes to use nature in his work, such as farming or gardening, he must know how to comply with nature's law. In turn, as he obeys her laws, he derives the best results, and in the end he will enjoy the greatest harvest. He who obeys the laws of nature and acts as her obedient servant later become the master and reap a full benefit. Every student who obeys the law and is a true servant of good will become a greater soul and will reap the power to control his every condition and enjoy blessings galore. This is what the Master tried to tell us when he said, "He that is greatest among you shall be your servant. Whosoever shall exalt himself shall be humbled. Whosoever shall humble himself shall be exalted." Yet this does not picture for us a weakling, one who gives way to the stronger or is easily brushed aside by the more aggressive, for Paul says, "When I am weak, I am strong," meaning, of course, that when he is weak to obey the law of good, he is strong and spirited. Our mistakes are largely due to the fact that we have obeyed more readily the laws of earth than the laws of spirit. We have subjected our ideas to the outward appearance of things rather to the inner truths of the law as the law teaches them. Peter and his apostles said to those who gathered about them in the marketplace, "We must obey God rather than man. We must obey the law of good rather than the law of man." They knew that an individual is only as he thinks he is, and if he obeys the promptings of the spirit or the urge of his senses, his results will be accordingly. Paul says, "Know ye not to whom ye yield yourselves servants to obey? His servants ye are to whom ye obey, whether of sin unto death or obedience unto righteousness." If we are to obey the spirit within us rather than the conditions about us, then the law requires us to first think things into existence from the within before we shall see them from the without. Most of our experience are the outgrowth of our own created activities. These created activities are first to be bound in thought that we think in our minds. The law reads, "As ye sow, so shall ye reap," which is mathematically accurate and true. If you plant a turnip seed, nature does not produce potatoes. If you plant a corn seed, nature does not make a mistake and bring forth a giant oak tree. Excuse me. On the same reasoning, if you plant thoughts of worry, the law you obey will give you something to worry about. It will produce more and more circumstances to increase your worries. If you think of disease and lack, you will receive exactly what you are expecting. Whatever law you obey will in turn serve you. The most important thing is to know what to obey. You laugh at the troubles of little ones because you view them from their true value. To the child, his tiny task seems real and all-important, and not until he outgrows his childish ways can he look back with amusement and not feel regret. Not until we can rise superior to our problems and our troubles can we ever hope to cease to have further troubles? A mother put her little boy to bed one night, but later she found him restless, unable to sleep. He called down and asked that the light be left lighted for him. The mother knew something was wrong, so she went up to his room and gained his confidence by talking to him. She learned that during the day other children had threatened to send the boogeyman after him because he would not give over his toy to them. The mother then explained that there was no boogeyman. She said that the principle of it was to frighten him into submission so that he would give over his toy to the other children. She told him he could go to sleep because there was no real boogeyman. The child had obeyed the illusion of things and was frightened, but the mother saw the truth. In knowing the truth, she could see through the principle of fear involved, and by dispelling it from the mind of her son, enabled him to go peacefully to sleep. The purpose of our lesson is to learn how we might properly choose and serve the law for our highest good. We either serve principle or things in all that we think and do. Things are the events or the results of invisible causes, whereas principle is the true cause and is spirit. Principle is that which we think in our minds, and things are the results of those thoughts. A man who obeys illusions or worships things will have burdens to carry. A man's burdens are the things which he claims as his personal property, things he feels are his very own, and therefore he must protect and serve them. Years ago, a relative of mine worshipped illusions and things. He strove to accumulate riches. He worked so hard gaining his wealth that he lost his health. Then he turned about and tried to gain his health by spending his wealth. And in the end, he passed away disappointed and a disillusioned man. That man, like so many others, had started out in life with the wrong conception of the law of God. Strange, but man does not own an earthly thing. All that he has been loaned to him, according to his understanding of the law he serves. Man was born naked, and he dies in that nakedness. All his earthly things are stripped off him. Even his many burdens become illusions again. His real task in life is to find his place according to his understanding, and that understanding determines the way he lives life. Analyze your burdens. They arise from some ideas of possession you think you may have dependents, others who must be supplied, and you feel you must care for them as they have no other protector or provider. But when you realize the allness of God, who sees even the sparrows fall, you will then change your idea of responsibility. Then your mental reliefs will permit a greater flow of good to come to you, and it will come to you in many other ways than before. Thousands today are held in bondage to the idea that they must be helped by others, that they must have relief. Their greatest need is not your help or mine so much as it is in a new understanding of life itself. The fear of the future has become a race belief, and it affects all ages. As you obey the law of fear instead of the law of God, you will have many more burdens. For only as we are able to cast our burdens upon the law shall we be free. If you are obedient to the law, you will not suffer these burdens to be heaped high upon you. You will live in the present. Do your highest duty every day. Forget the past and let the future take care of itself. For to trust the law, you must know of its guidance by experience and practice. To those who have not learned this guidance, the experience must be acquired. God does not require you to follow his leading on blind trust. Behold the evidence of an invisible intelligence pervading everything, even your own mind and body. Disobedience of the law is refusal to do what we know is right. We all know the right, but we do not always do it because it seems to interfere or delay our immediate attainment of the object we see. We want quick returns, forgetting that the law moves slowly, yet it works perfectly and well. We want instantaneous healing of our diseases, but we are loath to give up the net habits that cause them. When we speak of a man of principle, we mean a man who is governed by the law of right thinking and living, a man who is not easily swayed, a man who is not an opportunist, a man who will not deviate from the path of what he deems to be right for the sake of personal profit or popular acclaim. A man, in short, whom one must trust absolutely to be true to his convictions, regardless of the temptations to change or modify them. No one will deny that such a man inspires the utmost confidence and may become a tower of strength and leadership. He is one on whom others rely for leadership, whereas the man who is easily persuaded to yield to pressure, even for kindly motives, is not the type of individual on whom you can depend. If this is true of man in the outer realm, how much more true it is of man in the inner realm, the mental realm, because God is principle, not merely governed by principle. The God-governed man is never in doubt as to the results to be gained by following the principle, for principle is based on law and obedience. So the law we can have only one result: happiness, peace, and prosperity. All that is required of us is to learn obedience to the law of truth, and not to obey the petty things that arise steadily as we allow our visions to be disturbed and harassed. Blessed are they that fear the word of God and keep it. Obey my voice, and I will be your God, and ye shall be my people. When we obey the voice, law, then we understand with the master the statement, all that is mine is thine. This is the law acting through us. As we obey the law, we humble our personal self to the divine self within us. We refuse to accept the outer appearances of things as being final and true, but we turn within and seek that which is real and true as God, the law, intended it to be. Let us live with God and his work, not after we die, not tomorrow or next year, but right here and now. God's kingdom is all about us, awaiting our acknowledgement or obedience of his law. We must be able to converse and live with God, the law, in our daily life. Then we shall live with love and joy, with hope and wealth and peace, and there, with peace, with peace here and everywhere. It is ours for the decision. If they obey and serve him, they shall spend the days in prosperity and their years in pleasure. And that is the end of that chapter. So I hope that came loud and clear. Everybody could hear that.
It did. I mean, it was beautiful, beautiful, Jay. Thank you so much, because like you said, just the kind of wording, and all that stuff. But I think the core of, the obedience concept can be understood. So yeah, I would love to open the call and just to share a little bit that for me, and I want to come back later, but to share that for me, it is a surrendering. I will associate this obedience with my spiritual, journey here, and to really talk it as surrendering to my higher inner guidance, and to really, feeling alignment with what I'm doing, and to know where I come from, and to feel connected with God. Or God is the one that we call here, but whatever we call it, universe or divine intelligence. I mean, there is an aspect of us, that has a tendency to protect and separate ourselves from everything, instead of really surrendering and understanding that we can be guided moment by moment, and to master that deep listening, I think, of our actions. And wow, I just love it. I want to hear you guys, because for me it was very revealing. And it's funny because I do feel that we are growing towards truth here, capital letters, that it's so, maybe the words are different, but I really feel touching my heart that, yeah, yes, help me to understand and to practice this more, so I love to see the potential that we have here, and how, at the end, is mastering our own obedience to what? To our higher vision, to our truth. Remember with the science of getting rich that we were seeing the ability to really, don't grasp what you perceive outside, but, focus on the truth, like instead of the appearance here. So that is a journey for me for sure. And I'm having testings on that, and I love to work it at the end, we do with our humanness as much as we can. So let's open the call, and I want to hear the wise people that we have here, and see if we can integrate this obedience word. That to me, obedience was really touching this aspect of rebel in me. I'm going to obey to who? To God, absolutely. I don't have any doubt. So this is the opening. Whoever feels to share something about this. you know, we had this, I like it, the example of the mom, you know, like supporting the child, you know, to see the illusion of fear, you know, and to really come back to you know, teach the boy to come back to his strength and to his value, you know, instead of running the show of being threatened and defensive. So I think we have a lot to learn here. So let's open the call. Who feels ready here? I need to see the microphones opening.
I think Celio should start, no?
Really? Why? Why?
He has often so much wisdom to share here.
Ah, well, that's good to know. Yes, here you go. Here you go.
I understand, Monica. I will jump in. When you say the obedience, you know, we have this rebellion to obedience because normally the paradigm of obedience is connected with, you know, with the religious feeling of lacking, you know, so obedient to some laws that are not the laws of God, are not the laws that are touched in this chapter. So it's like, you know, this wrong perception, and he starts talking Holloway about that to make it very clear, because that other obedience is you know, focused on lack, focused on fear, focused on, you know, on difficulties. And what I think is very important is when he makes a point of you know, being clear about the differences, you know, of whom shall we be obedient to, you know, what kind of obedience, to principles or to things, because it's, you know, it's so you know, it seems so obvious here as we are in the mastermind and in the chapter, but in the normal business life, it sometimes can be so confusing because things, situations, people, even the laws. I am surrounded by lawyers in my personal businesses, not people with that pattern of the law, not the law of God, not this law, but the other law, the law of the world, the law of situations, the law of limitations. And I really, you know, I always say each chapter is like a shower of grace, it's like a shower of, you know, of help, it's like a shower that lifts me up. It's totally magic. I really feel every day that we have this mastermind, I feel so lifted. You know, that a few 2 hours before I was into some situation that totally had to do with the other conception of obedience, you know, that of people who are acting according to their own pattern of the wrong perception of limitations. And I felt so uplifted. Because like Jay says, you know, you have to read it and prepare, and for those who are listening, really to read it many times, because these chapters, it's not that they're difficult or easy, but you really have to absorb them, you know, totally, to really grasp them, and they are essential. I find they're essential. And I just love the presence of God that you know, is in this chapter, like in all the other ones, like that divine intervention to make God real in my situations, and to ask for his help, his interventions, and his guidance. Then I will be clear that I am in the right principle and not in the principle of cause of the situations. That is so, you know, it's not easy to make the difference, but like you were saying, Monica, it's a leap of faith. It's a leap of faith to at some point let go and let God work through me and take the right steps and see the situation from his point of view, from God's point of view, not my ego's point of view or my limitations point of view or any, you know, but his point of view. And I'm precisely in that, you know, in my normal business life, in whatever I'm doing right now, I really more and more have to be focused on this obedience to this sacred law of this presence of God, because I see he's the only one who can resolve not only my situation, but any situation. At this point, the way the world's going, the way all the institutions are going, the banking, the businesses, the companies, all the situations, I see that the shift is totally going to what Mr. Holloway is directing us. It's going to that divine direction. And you know, and I feel so thankful to the universe for giving us each week in this mastermind like a touch of sacredness. It's like sacred. more and more. I'm finding these masterminds, and also the one we have with the Spanish group on Tuesday that we're working with Catherine Ponder. Also, she's all about divine intervention. She's all about obedience to these laws, to the law. And what is the law? The law is God. That's to me, that's like the nitty-gritty, the law. What is the law? Not the men's law, not this law that seems so, oh my God. No, it's God. God is the law. And to make it, to make it real in my life, in my everyday, every situation, every moment. Easy to say is not easy to do, but this is our challenge. I find, at least for me, this is what it's what I have to do. And like Jay was reading, in the last lines, most of the times, I think all the time, we know what is right, but not always we do it, because we're more tempted to follow the direction of the fear, or tempted to follow the easy gratification. In the American and also in Europe, it's like the instant gratification. What is going to be the easiest solution and the quickest? And then we are not in the obedience, in this kind of obedience. So this is.
Wow. Thank you so much, Celio. I mean, to me, I see you touched two powerful points for me. One was saying the difference between, or the consciousness of, possessions and principles. I think that you are so right. Like we get so trapped in the, I think from the scarcity perspective, that's what I love so much, to be a conscious entrepreneur. To really engage from embodying the frequency of prosperity, abundance, when there is no missing anything. I mean, we are whole and complete right here, and I'm here to play with this creation, and to really extend myself and enjoy this life maximum, but not to possess, not with the fear of I'm going to have this so I can lose this or whatever. So I love that point. Helped me to click it a little deeper, so thank you so much, Celio, for that. And then another thing that that you touched very powerful too, Celio, was, it's really up to us. Like yesterday, we had a very powerful experience here at home, and was really about a lesson of how much our attention is into the appearance, okay? And I keep stuck there, like seeing what I see because this is a fact and because this is what I see, or my attention into that, the benefit of all, like all is well, do I engage from all is well, and how you balance that, because it's not about denial either, it's not about don't see and face so you can grow, but at the same time, it's my growth, it's not the growth of others, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm the only person that I can grow here. So what is my lesson? So maybe if I put less force and less attention into what is not working outside, I can create something that is working, instead of being so right, because I know I am right, in what I'm discussing here. But instead of being so right, and ethical and so much in integrity and so much whatever, just let it go, and just, I mean, getting the permission to talk from my heart, but I can see the difference, between getting stuck and being attached to my perception and my experience and what I see, instead of what I want and the possibilities that we can have here, So thank you for that. For me, for sure, it's supportive. So thank you so much, Celio. I love to work all of us here together. Like you, I feel uplifted too every week, It's a step forward to support that. And I think this is something that we need to repeat again and again, And that's what I love to be with like-minded people, We are looking for the same kind of truth and to really embody that and to engage with our business from that higher aspect, and not anymore from scarcity or fear. So again, like you said, easy to say. So let's see if we have the pleasure to listen to other wisdoms here. Wise people?
Well,
yes,
I can come in here, and that was very pointing, Celio. Of course, I knew your wisdom is so strong there, and thank you, Jay, for reading. You read actually a really good job there. I not actually, but I really got it, and You know, when I started the chapter here, I didn't like the word obedience, but I really see it. It's the obedience to the law, and it's almost like one part of me in the past, or the way I live part of my life, is that I'm forcing my results. I'm gonna have what I want, and I go out and I I I I work on the physical plane and manipulating to create what I want. And that is not the law. The law is to know that I work from inside out and to allow the manifestation from God to make it. That is the um, more permanent and the right way to create things. When I create from force, I create a disharmony, and I manipulate. When I create from inside, I create that everybody becomes a winner, because God always makes everything working together in uh, a way that everybody wins. So the obedience is to know that that is the way to do it. It's the way I translate it. That when I have a fight on the outside, when I have a world that that I see that I don't like, then just not try to manipulate that and become a tyrann, making others do what I want them to go inside and change my perception. And that's not easy. That's and I can do it. I do it for 10 seconds, and then I'm back to what the apparent problem was, and back again to 10 seconds, and back and back. So to do it more permanently on a longer vision, that it actually becomes because every moment that I'm thinking the way I want to be thinking consciously and opening from inside, then that's what I see. But then I fall back to see the other one, and the struggle, the changing the habit to work from inside out. That is what I'm working mostly on. And I also want to add that I know there are many people watching us on unlimitednetwork.com, and if they want to join the panel here and talk like we are doing and sharing your wisdom with the rest of the world, please email me, Arne, ARNE, at unlimitednetwork.com, and I can send you the invitation to link to this. And so that's it for me now.
Thank you, Arne. Thank you. That was great. I mean, I do love, I really appreciate that we are all here committed to apply this in our lives, and especially thanks to our business, that bring us here together to touch all these powerful laws, And you are right, Arne. I think we know the law. We know the law. The thing is to apply it. Like yesterday, because the incident that I experienced, oh my gosh, I was all day, it was kind of an obsession, like my mind could not stop, of thinking. And lately I'm very calm and peaceful, so I was like, oh man. And the more I wanted to stop it, the more activity to get. And at one point I relaxed and I said, what about if I just witness it, and offer the space, and that was melting it, and I start to have more space to have the power to choose where I want to go, in the sense of intention and clarity, So it's very powerful, and thank you, Arne, for making it real, and congratulations, because that 10 seconds, and then we lose it, the second is going to grow and grow by habit, by taking that choice again and again, So we know how the law works, and we know that, like in the chapter today, he was back referring, back to the mind, back to the mind. I mean, at the end, the mind is a filter. And another thing that you woke up also in your sharing right now, Arne, that I think is important for me, is like we can know the law intellectually, you know, but I'm really getting in the feeling of, and for that, Abraham Hicks is helping me a lot, you know, the teachings of Abraham Hicks, like to sense, you know, like you feel your soul, you really feel your truth, you feel the peace is an experience inside us, you know. So what kind of thoughts makes you more peaceful? Let's learn how to feel good, how to vibrate in that goodness, you know, so I can see the world from that goodness, you know, so, and gratitude and appreciation. So I'm happy to integrate this from different corners, you know. Thank you, Arne. Thank you very much. Okay. Anyone else that feels inspired here to jump and open your heart? Yes,
Good
Candace, welcome.
morning. Good morning. Dear ones. Oh my gosh. I feel like I'm hanging out in the best of company. I really do. You guys are amazing. Early in the chapter, Raymond Hollowell talked about the science of mathematics. So with a nod to the science of mathematics, I'll say Happy Pi Day to everybody. It's 3/14/15. So that's P-I, not P-I-E. Happy Pi Day. And Monica and everybody, you're an inspiration. I'm particularly, because I did a 28-day fast actually a few summers ago, and I'm aware of the changes it wrought in my life while I was doing it, and since I have been able to maintain much better diet for longer periods of time, and just life has been healthier since then, and I'm so grateful for that experience. But it is so enriching for me that you and Arne have shared your experience of, you know, that it is really not easy all the time, and it's this and it's that, and it causes you to ride herd on your thinking. I'm from Texas. I have a cowgirl background, so you ride herd on things to make them contain themselves. Anyway, thank you for that inspiration. I'm just really grateful. So many of the things you said were really good. And jumping back to the chapter, which we didn't go very far away from, I'm really humbled by Raymond Hollowell's understanding of the law, as he puts it, but also, as I put it, of the divine. His understanding is very thought-provoking for me and helps me go into deeper places in myself and my own understanding and in my willingness to consider aspects I hadn't thought of before. So I'm very, very grateful for that. One of the sentences was, business is founded on obedience. Now that hadn't occurred to me before, but of course it is. Of course it is. Business is founded on obedience. There's a sentence in there about that. And as each member obeys the laws of commerce, he will succeed. So you can't go out there and start playing hockey and expect to succeed in business. That was good for me. And the fact that we either serve principle or we serve things. He's able to take language, and by putting it in the frame of a law, makes it very understandable to everybody. I'm pretty amazed by this book. It has been wonderful. And hearing everybody's comments, Thelio, you always inspire me in one way or another, but today I was really thinking, as we're, I'll use my words, talking about really wanting to make this your own, make the understanding of this book your very own, and walk a walk that shows that in your life. I saw myself kind of in a cloak, because I wanted to embody these teachings also. I saw myself like in a cloak made of pages with this law, with these laws written on them, because they're so filled with truth that's how I want to walk forward in life, and that's plenty of talking from me. So Much love to you all. Have a beautiful Pi Day. We'll catch you later.
Thank you, Candace. Beautiful, beautiful. I love the way you can see. I mean, I love the way you express. You know, that is the truth and how you get it. And like I was saying before a little bit, it's like thank you to business. So funny. Thank that we engage in business with people like us here. We are growing in this direction. You know, so I feel a lot of appreciation for all of us too. And thank you for engaging and using it and practicing and sharing. I mean, how beautiful. I just love us. And Mr. J, I can see that you opened the microphone and you are ready. Welcome.
Yes, I got knocked out a little bit, so I don't know what happened. I lost connection. But I want to first start with what you had shared.
It was so
about...
perfect, Jay.
What's that?
It was so perfect. You read the whole thing, and then you got knocked out. I mean, it was just so perfect.
Yeah, and I actually lost my internet connection. I was like, I kept trying to boot. I'm like, well, I didn't realize it had no internet, so I guess I have to pay my bill something. But I wanted to, it tied in to what Monica said, and then what Candace just added. Originally, about your juicing and the hard part of going through that. And I think I know I've done it a million times. I've gone to a class or I've gone to a training or I've started something and, or I've learned something. And I wanted to ask you this, Monica, and I know your answer because you're doing it for a reason, but most people will go through the hard part. And then what Candace said, it allowed her to maintain a better diet or a better lifestyle. And I think a lot of people, because I know I've been guilty of it, where I've gone through a training, learned all this, wow, this is cool, this is great, didn't apply it, didn't maintain it, didn't keep up to it. And I think that's, part of obeying the law. We're learning the law there. You're learning the law of juicing and what you have to do. Now the question is, what you did that you're in that pain, that first couple weeks of working out, training, lifting, going to the gym. Your body hurts, and then you get into it for 3 or 4 weeks, 3 or 4 months, and stop, and you just defeated the purpose of everything that you did. So that's that maintaining part of it. Because I thought it was interesting in what you said. We've all done it. I've taken a class. Oh, I'm going to do this. That learning, that initial learning, is really wow. I learned all that. Did I apply it? Did I use it? Did I maintain it? And that's the question. I don't know what the next step for your juicing is, and I'm sure you intend to do that, but to go forward and continue that lifestyle or the actions that need to be taken. A couple things that stood out to me in reading this, and I'm not exactly sure, and forgive me for my ignorance, when this book was written. Arnie, do you know when this book was written?
I think it's in the 40s or 50s. I'm not quite sure. Maybe even 60s.
Well, we all know today with our fast-paced lifestyle that immediate gratification is everywhere. No one has time. Oh my God, where's that picture? I clicked on the internet where everything needs to be there in 2 seconds. Microwave food and fast food and everything. And I just was amazed in reading that even back in a time when things were a little slower, they're talking about immediate gratification. People want everything immediately, and we and we see that in this society where we know what MLMs and internet business and stuff like that. People are thinking, oh, okay, I paid my money. I was in the business for 3 months. I should be making 10 grand a month. It's that immediate where things don't really happen. So I thought that was really super interesting. But when I was reading it and I was thinking about you, Arnie, with sailing, and you talk about being obedient, and like you said, and I grew up that, dude, don't tell me to I didn't like the choice of the words. I understand it when you take it in context, but nobody wants you're going to obey me. Nobody wants to hear that. But if we understand the law and whatever you're doing, there are directions, and I just relate everything to simple things. You're not going to buck traffic, so why buck the other laws? You're not going to drive north in the southbound lane. You might for a couple feet, but you're going to find some resistance because you're going to run into traffic coming against you. And that's in every aspect of life. There are a set of rules, and if we follow them, we're going to find things go a lot easier. And that's what I took. You know, Arnie, you're a sailor. I don't know anything about being in a sailboat, but you know, there's days you're just not taking your boat out, or there's some way you're just not going. You know, you're not going against this tide, or you're not going into that wind, or you're not going out because of, you know, the conditions of that day. Because why? I'll wait later and go with the flow, or go what's easier, or go what's less detrimental, or, you know, less dangerous for me. And that's just in every situation in life. If you really think about it, you know, swimming against the tide, swimming against the rip current, there's a way that's simple, and a rip current will kill you if you fight it. But if you go the right way, you can get into shore with no effort. And I just, you know, think in simple terms, and like I said, it's bucking traffic. You know, you're not gonna disobey the traffic laws for too long and continue to stay on the road, whether the police are going to take you off or the cars are going to take you off. So if you think of obeying the system, obeying the laws in that term, it really makes it simple. You know, you say, I don't follow rules. Well, you follow rules every day. You depend on people every day when you think about it. So you know, I just make things in simple terms, and that just sort of stood out to me. So I will send it back to you guys.
Thank you, Jay. I love your sportive spirit. You know how you can see things, you know, from the sport perspective. That is such a reflection of what we can do in an easy way or not. So thank you so much. That's a great inspiration. I see, Candace, that you opened the microphone. Is that true?
It's
yes.
True. I'd love to say something in response to what Jay was talking about, that maintaining a discipline, a particular discipline, I find in my life, I discipline for a while, and then I relax, and it all kind of spreads out, and I just enjoy, and the chocolate's there, and I have some, but I keep moving. And none of those things are stuck, so I no longer feel like I have to maintain something for very long. Yes, I do things for 40 days. Yes, I do things for 28 days, and I do them consistently and regularly. But they also have nice big patches of relaxation in between, allowing the growing that I receive from that particular, whatever popped up. YouTube is amazing, I'll tell you. But just, you know, a yoga discipline, or this, or that, or a food discipline for a little while. When I do it for a time, I needed to have time for it to relax and let it sink in. Let me learn what I needed to learn from that. And then I will gradually grow toward another one, you know, choosing something else that I need to say, a particular mantra, or you know, have a particular affirmation, or something, where I do it for a period of time, and they all have benefit. And you mentioned fast moving. We are moving so fast that I think something like a 28-day juice cleanse is going to have radical, beautiful results in Monica and Arna's life. And boy, I hope you just, you know, gradually go into whatever's next with a complete sense of freedom, that's as important as the time of discipline. That's my point.
Thank you, Candace.
I love this. You're so good.
Thank you very much. And yes, to answer you and Jay, I mean, to support what you were saying right now, it is a transition, and you know, we know the law. To me, that's something that I just need to remember again and again. Like, you don't change a pattern or a habit in, you know, instant thing, gratification. But when we know the law, we know that whatever it is that I ask for is already there. So that's what I'm mastering more and more, or I have more and more deep understanding about what faith is, to really know the law. Whatever I ask is already there. Meanwhile, trusting that that is that way, okay, because I don't ask things by accident. I mean, my deepest desires are not an accident. Then, you know, it's divine timing, you know. Meanwhile, my job, I think, is to be more aware, to let go what is not, and to, you know, keep claiming the truth, capital letters, and keep growing. So instant gratification, it is such a an obstacle, I would say, a resistance, you know, that we have to really open up to the entire flow of well-being, you know, that we are made of, and that I think is our right to embody and to experience, you know, in this life. So I think this topic is very, very important. I see the you know, ability to manage this tendency of, you know, having it right now, and to see that is a long term. So these 28 days, to give an example of this mastermind, we are in this mastermind from May. I love it. I mean, it's something that is really touching, you know, my growth, and expose myself to be human and spiritual at the same time, because that's our path, you know, that's what we chose to be, you know. So, but to really get, you know, like the trust, the fine-tuning, that faith, you know, and then to strongly believe that is already here. My job is to get comfortable with it, to live my life more and more with my heart open, you know, and truthful to myself, moment by moment. So whatever doesn't fit, like yesterday morning, like I'm going to be shaken, you know, and to surrender to that, to obey, you know, what flows and what doesn't, and to correct and continue. You know, this is something that I learned from Harbecker, so very, very powerful too. So wow, I think that we are 9:01 at this moment. I think we did an incredible journey here again. I do appreciate very, very much the depth that we can take this, you know, this journey as business partners. I love to work with you guys, and to be this kind of teamwork, you know, and to really support each other, to do it from a place of truth. And to trust that we are knowing to allow, you know, our desires from a place of ease and total ease, you know, like it has to be the struggle. So taking out the heaviness of the word obedience. And for me, I love it, like sacrifice was to make something sacred, you know, like it becomes sacred. Yes, I have my intention here, and that's sacred, you know. And obedience is to take out the heaviness of having to obey someone outside me, and to really surrender to the obedience of my deepest inner connection with truth, you know, and to be humble and open enough that I can listen to that, and I can, you know, keep learning. You know, I am so accustomed to do the opposite. You know, maybe that sometimes, like you said, Anna, 10 seconds and then I lose it, but that's okay. You know, come back, because we know what feels good in us. You know, so with that said, I want to thank everyone here for your intervention, divine, and also everyone that is in the other side listening, and, you know, uplifting yourself with this kind of work, to really use our conscious entrepreneurship to keep expanding and embodying in this earth. I think, imagine for a second, guys, if, you know, all the business people in this world, they were busy, you know, studying this kind of laws and really committed to apply it. Even if it take us, you know, 10 lives, I don't know, but not about instant gratification, you know, but yes, about instant recognition. We are doing the work, we are walking our path here very consciously, and that's going to change our planet. So thank you for being who you truly are, and you know, here in your human and in your beingness. And we are going to get together next Saturday. Is going to be March 21. I mean, this is like going quick, and we are going to keep going with the next chapter of this amazing book, the Working the Laws, okay, from someone has to help me here with the name.
Raymond Holloway.
Holloway, exactly, Hollywell. I love the name. So thank you so much, guys. Have a wonderful week, conscious, and go for your vision in alignment with your heart, okay? So get centered and just trust that whatever it is that you're looking for is coming your way, okay? Thank you, everyone. Have a good week.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Great to see you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.